We spend so much time and energy making our homes feel just right. Calm, clear, a place we can really focus. But what about the other space we live in? The one that's right here, in our hands, pretty much all day long. Today, we're going to talk about that weird paradox of having a quiet room, but a screen that is just screaming for our attention. And wow, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got a space that's designed for peace, but on the right, it's a digital explosion of red dots, infinite feeds, and those phantom vibrations we all feel. It's funny, we'll clear a coffee table to clear our minds, but then we let our digital lives turn into, well, this. And that's really the problem we're digging into.
Oh, this quote just hits home, right? It's that feeling of sitting at the dinner table with people you love, but your brain is still scrolling through something you saw 10 minutes ago. We're all living with this kind of divided attention, and it's quietly chipping away at our ability to focus and just be with each other.
So, what do we do about it? The answer is not to smash our phones and go live in the woods. It's about finding a smarter way, a more intentional way to live with them. And that's where this new philosophy comes in.
Let's get really clear on what digital minimalism is and, maybe more importantly, what it isn't. This isn't about depriving yourself or going back to the Stone Age. It's about being intentional. It's about making sure every single app, every notification, every minute you spend on your device is actually serving your goals, not the goals of some tech company in Silicon Valley.
I love this phrase because it frames the whole thing perfectly. So ask yourself this: is your phone a super useful tool that you pick up to solve a problem, or has it turned into a slot machine, where you just keep pulling the lever, hoping for that little rush of dopamine from a new like or a notification? The goal here is to turn it back into that amazing tool it's supposed to be.
Okay, so that's the big idea, but how do you actually do it? Well, the source material for this lays out this fantastic, really actionable 3-phase plan to get you from digital chaos to digital calm. So let's break it down, step by step.
Phase 1 is all about decluttering. Think about it. We hold onto apps for the same reason we hold onto clothes we haven't worn in years, just in case, right? That airline app from a trip 4 years ago, the 3 different meditation apps you never actually open, they're just digital dust bunnies, cluttering up your screen and, more importantly, your mind. The strategy here is so simple, but it is incredibly powerful. First, you just take everything out of the closet. Delete every app that isn't absolutely 100% essential. We're talking phone, messages, maps, maybe your banking app. Then, and this is the most important part, you just wait. You don't guess what you'll need. You only re-download an app at the exact moment you have a real, genuine need for it.
So what's the result of doing this? It's pretty staggering. The author of our source material found that months later, they'd only re-downloaded about 20% of the apps they started with. Let that sink in. That means 80% of what was on their phone was just digital noise, unnecessary clutter.
Okay, so if the apps are the clutter in the house, then the notifications are the constant stream of people knocking on your door. They're the things that pull you out of deep work, right out of a good conversation, or even just out of your own thoughts.
This analogy just shows how absurd our situation has become.
Seriously, imagine you're reading a book, and every 3 minutes, a total stranger walks into your living room, taps you on the shoulder, and says, "Hey, a friend of a friend just posted a vacation photo. You'd call security." Yet we let our phones do exactly that to us hundreds of times a day.
The key here is to completely flip the switch. The old way is default on. You're in this constant state of high alert, reacting to everything. The new way is default off. You literally go into your settings and turn off notifications for everything. Then you create a tiny little VIP list. You only allow alerts from actual human beings trying to reach you, like calls or texts. Everything else, you check it on your schedule when you decide.
And now for phase 3. Let's be real for a second. Sometimes willpower just isn't enough. There are literally thousands of brilliant engineers whose entire job is to figure out how to get around your self-control. So it's not a sign of weakness to use some tools to fight back. It's just smart.
So tools like Freedom basically act as guardrails for your attention. You can set them up to block those distracting sites and apps during specific times, like, say, from 9 a.m. to noon when you really need to get work done. The moment you mindlessly try to open that app, the tool just blocks it, and that simple act breaks that subconscious loop and reminds you, oh right, I wanted to focus. It's less of a handcuff and more of what the source calls a sanctuary generator.
All right, so you've done the purge, you've silenced the constant pings, you've set up your guardrails. What's the payoff? I mean, what does life actually feel like on the other side of all that digital noise?
Now first, a little heads up. The first few days, maybe even the first week, it can feel a bit weird.
Your brain is so used to those constant little dopamine hits that it gets restless. You'll find yourself reaching for your phone when you're in line at the grocery store, find nothing new, and feel a little lost. But you have to stick with it, because right after that feeling, that's when the magic really happens.
The source points to 3 really powerful, transformative changes that start to happen once you push through that initial discomfort. Let's take a quick look at each one.
First, you get white space back in your brain. You actually rediscover what it's like to be bored. And this is so important. You know, our best ideas, they don't usually come when we're cramming more information in. They come when our minds are just free to wander, when we're washing the dishes or just staring out a window. Boredom is basically the soil where creativity grows.
Second, you get this thing called deep presence. When you are with people, you are truly with them. Your phone is in your bag, it's not sitting on the table between you, you're not half listening while secretly thinking about an email you need to send, and the quality of your connections, your conversations, it just deepens in a way that is honestly pretty profound.
So look, this whole thing isn't about reaching some perfect minimalist finish line. Just like cleaning your house, it's an ongoing practice. It's about constantly asking yourself, does this thing serve me? Because believe me, the digital weeds will always try to grow back.
And this, right here, is the ultimate transaction. The big takeaway is that you're not actually losing anything, you are making a trade. You're giving up low-quality, cheap digital distraction in exchange for high-quality, rich reality. More focus, deeper relationships, better ideas. It's a really good deal when you think about it.
Which brings us to one last thought. Don't try to overhaul your entire digital life tomorrow. That's overwhelming. Just start with one small thing. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the first digital weed you're going to pull today?